All right, family, in this video, you probably heard it before. It is the NAR settlement, millions and millions of dollars of lawsuits. And I want to clarify so many things with you because I've been scrolling into some of these lawsuits, posts, and news feed. Man, there's so many misconceptions there, especially on like Instagram that I've been reading. Sentences like, could this be the biggest win for a buyer's market? The removal of commissions and all these things that I've been seeing that kind of cracks me up. It really shows how a lot of people are misinformed, uninformed on social media platforms that they really feel that, these comments that I've seen. Things like, oh man, this is amazing. Now the removal of the buyer's agent is going to be the best thing that could happen for the real estate market. It's going to lower down all the home prices. And again, I don't believe that's going to happen. Not because I'm a realtor, but mainly because of what I'm about to share with you next. And it's really grasping the idea and understanding of how buyer's commission work. So that way you can see for yourself why things are the way it is. All right, so the first question probably most of you are asking is, Chris, will I save money when I am not using a buyer's agent towards any type of home purchases or transactions? And to me, the answer to that is absolutely no. Let me give you an example. Most of you who watch me on social media, Instagram, really follows my social media because of the development DR Horton or Ho'opili. And yes, I do have a lot of buyers that have purchased into this community. Why? Because we all feel that it's beautiful. I like to show these communities. It's where I live. Whenever people tell me, hey, Chris, will this NAR lawsuits save me money? The developers, again, remember the sentence, the developers are the one that's compensating me, not from your pocket as a buyer's agent, compensating me for showing you properties, showing you the steps, the procedures, all the questions that you need to ask, all the different developments, floor plans, prices, and layouts, all of those things that mean you have a conversation on. The developer pays me via commission to be able to close a transaction for them. And to me, the key word there is really advertisement. That's the main reason why they're paying me, is because of the word advertisement. Now, me, I advertise a lot about social media, and I do show properties, show prices, show the different layouts, what's to come, what's available. And so people like me are compensated by the developer. Now, you can also go into the development by yourself and go and purchase and be a lost cause possibly, right? And the question there is, will I save money by doing that? And the answer is absolutely not. The developer is not going to walk up to you and say, hey, you're a buyer, you came in without an agent, therefore now we don't have to pay an agent, therefore now let me give you some discount. That's never going to happen. In fact, that's just going to be added to their bottom line of profits. And from the last time I could remember, some of these developers, they're billion-dollar companies, adding an extra $10,000 in their bank account might make a small simple debt. But to me, people like us, realtors here on the island of Hawaii, that makes a big difference. Why? Is because our income of $10,000, it's easily where we spoke to 5 different people just to even get one transaction. So yes, it really does matter to us. So going back to the question, will this save money? I would say absolutely not. The money already is coming from the developer side, and it's coming from the buyer side. So whenever I see these comments like, oh yay, this is the removal of a buyer's agent and this is now gonna save us money, there is where the misconception come from. Now let's move to the seller side, okay? And this is very important because the sellers now have the option to not pay for a buyer's commission. I repeat that. The sellers now have the option to not pay for a buyer's commission side. And a lot of the sellers out there are saying, yay, this is excellent. This is going to help us when we sell our home. Now we can make the buyer's agent pay for their own buyer's commission. And again, big misconception. Let me tell you why me as a real estate agent, as a listing agent, will always continue to compensate for a buyer's commission. And there's really 3 main cases there. The first one is, again, that word advertisement. Okay, for me, compensating the buyers to sell my property in behalf of my sellers is gonna allow me to be able to have them advertise the crap out of my home. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna say, "Hey, this property is this. This property is great. Obviously, it's a great community or whatever the things that they do on the buyer side to make sure that they fulfill what the buyers need to fulfill." And so, yes, we will probably continue. My sellers, most of them, after explaining everything to them, my sellers will continue to go ahead and compensate the buyers. Now, after advertisement, the second keyword there for me specifically as an agent is the word lawsuit. I don't want to get involved in a lawsuit. Let me give you an example. Let's just say me right now, me and my sellers, we're doing an open house. A buyer comes in without an agent and wants to buy this house, right? In his mindset, he's like, "Yay, I'm not using a realtor, therefore I'm saving some money." Absolutely wrong. Now, me as an agent, my due diligence is with the seller. So, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tell this buyer, "Hey, by the way, this property worth $600,000. Why don't you put a purchase in at $650,000?" These things can happen, right? They could easily go ahead and rip off any buyers out there and say anything great about the property. Why? Because my relationship is towards the seller and not the buyer. And for me, I want to avoid that situation as a listing agent. So for me, having somebody else represent this buyer, avoiding any types of friction. Think of me being in a courtroom and I'm representing both the accusee and the defendant. Think about that, for example. Will that ever work or even ever have into a conclusion or solution? Absolutely not. And it's the same case for whenever you're selling one of the biggest assets that people have. Okay, so again, for me, lawsuit, be very careful, only because now this becomes like as if they're coming in as a customer. Now the last one, in my personal opinion, is the work. Okay, just remember this. Whenever the sellers don't want to pay for a commission, you as a listing agent may now have to do the work on behalf of the buyers, which means paperwork, 45 days, answering questions. Now, for you, ask yourself this question. If you were working today, the same job, and now they give you 2 times the work for the same pay, would that make you happy or sad? And the reality is my time is very valuable, and my efforts and due diligence towards the seller is very, very important to me. For me to be giving the same type of information to the buyers, not only that it's more work, it's less pay, but it really does put into this a lot of gray areas onto who am I truly representing. So again, going back to the questions, the removal of buyer's agent, just remember, things that you need to remember is the commissions usually come from the sellers or the developers, or a referral fee from a developer, which means you as a buyer will not save any type of money, at least not in my opinion, based on all my previous experiences and thoughts before. So again, do your own due diligence. This video is just to fully inform you on how commissions work, and reach out to me directly if you have any further questions. Thanks for watching. Hey, Larry.